Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Arooj Malik and I'm going to discuss about the pre-testing and pilot testing in research. First, let's give a quick recap of the research methodology. That includes the first part called the introduction. The introduction consists of a brief detail about the research and the variables. And then we have the literature review that gives us a theoretical background of the researches that has been done already on the given topic. And then we have the methodology. Methodology drives the method. We decide the sampling frame, population, basically the operationalization of the variables is done here. Discussions comes the next. Discussion is the part where the results obtained from the data collection is discussed in the light of the literature review. This all further moves to the conclusion of our research. And now the question arises that what is the survey or the questionnaire? A questionnaire is a research instrument consisting of a series of questions for the purpose of gathering information from the respondents. This can be carried out face to face, or via telephone, or by computer, or by post. It consists of a set of questions to collect information from a respondent. Survey research is often used to assess thoughts, opinions, and feelings. A survey is a research method used for collecting data from the predefined group of respondents to gain information and insights on various topics of interest. Surveys are used to increase knowledge in fields such as social research and demography. And now we need to know how to pre-test and pilot test a survey questionnaire. But first we need to know what is the pre-testing and its importance. People often think that testing a survey takes a long time. They think that they do not have the time or resources for it. So they just end up running the survey without any testing. This is a big mistake and one do not want to do that. One should know the importance of pre-testing. Even testing with one person is better than no testing at all. So if you don't have the time or you do not have the resources to do everything, just do as much as you can with what you have available. It's important to test your survey questionnaire before using it to collect data. Pre-testing and pilot testing can help you identify the question that does not make any sense to the participants, or the problems with the questionnaire that might lead to failed answers. As a general rule, you should aim to pre-test all your surveys and forms with at least 5 people. Even with this small number of people, you'll be surprised how many improvements you can make. Once you have finished designing your survey questionnaire, find 5 to 10 people from your target group to pre-test it. If you cannot find or get people from your exact target group, then find people who are as close as possible. Try to get a range of different people who are the representative of your target group. For example, if your target group is young people aged between 15 to 25, try to include some who are younger some who are older, boys and girls with different socioeconomic backgrounds. Although 5 to 10 people might not sound like many, you will usually find that most of them have same problems with the survey. So even with this small number of people, you will be able to identify most of the major issues. Adding more people might identify some additional smaller issues, but it will make the pre-testing more time consuming and obviously more costly. Piloting is only really needed for large and complex surveys, and it significantly takes more time and more effort. Once you have found your testers, ask them to complete the survey one at a time separately. The testers should complete the survey the same way that it will be completed in the actual project. Suppose if it's an online survey, they should complete it online. While they are completing the survey, ask them to think out loud. Each time they read an Each time they read and answer a question, they should tell you what exactly comes to their mind. Take notes on everything they say. The possible notes from their answers could be: I don't understand this question. I can't find the next section. The option I want is not available. This is getting boring. Why is it too long? Why is it asking about it? That makes me uncomfortable. Observe how they complete the survey. You should also observe them completing the survey. Look for the places where they hesitate or make mistakes. The next slide is going to be an example for that. This is an indication that the survey questions and the layout are not clear enough and need to be improved. Keep notes on what you observe. Observe how they choose the answers. This is an important point. Observe how they choose their answers because their priorities are key to your help. And now, once all the testers have completed the survey, review your notes from each sections. Evaluate the answers with your own method. At this point, it's normally clear what the major problems are, so you can go about improving the survey to address those problems. Normally, this is all that's needed. However, if major changes are needed to be done to the questionnaire or the structure, it might be necessary to repeat the pre-testing exercise. If you need to repeat the process, you'll be needing to repeat it with different people before starting the survey. After achieving the final improvements, it's time to move forward to the next step, which is the pilot study and the pilot testing. The first step is selecting the pilot sample. A good sample selection is key as it allows one to generalize the findings from the sample to the population, which is the whole purpose of survey research. For a large or complex surveys, it's a good idea to do a full pilot before starting the actual data collection. The size of the pilot depends upon how big is your actual sample is and how many data collectors you have. For a typical baseline or endline survey, a sample of around 30 to 50 people is usually enough to identify any major bugs in the system. To do a pilot, you need to test all the survey steps from the start to finish with a reasonably large sample. Implement all the steps from start to finish to make sure you make the improvements. And now is the most important part of this process, the improvements. This survey that is already pre-tested is enhanced enough with no problem with the survey design. Pilot testing will identify the practical problems with the solutions. The possible problems can be lack of staff training, challenges with the logistics of collecting survey, or they can be errors in the data entry. These problems can be easily fixed by pilot testing before starting the actual survey. Knowing that you have gone through all the process, you have checked all the steps to make sure your survey is all pre-tested and pilot tested and ready to go for the real move. These are the references through which I was able to gather around all the data at one place. And a major thank you to all of you for listening to this. Thank you so much. And Allah Hafiz.